Let's now proceed to our Q&A. And at this point, thank you for that, April and Juanis, but ask you to stay for this Q&A. But let me invite no other than our chairman, Mr. Edward Lee, to join us. Mr. Edward Lee, welcome.
Marvin, Juanis, April.
Hello, good afternoon.
Yes.
Hello. Hello, sir. Sir,
Oh.
you know, the market is being dominated by the retail traders.
Yes.
Juanis was saying that bulk of the trading now is retail. You have been in the market for what? For the 40 years, and you have seen the ups and downs, and you have seen this before. Could this be a sign of a bubble? What do you advise people to do, Mr. Chairman?
Well, if you go to my channel for 2 weeks already, I've been warning people about all this speculation, penny stock speculation. So this is always the challenge, no? The bulk of the people who are opening accounts with us right now, especially in the last 2 months, basically, is to speculate on all this what we call informed speculation. Mm-hmm. No? So this is very challenging to us because, of course, when you're speculating without understanding what are the rules of the game, how do you play this game, you would think that you're only looking for potential profit, di ba? Naghahabol ka ng kumita ka ng maraming pera, which before this week, a lot of people were making a lot of money. No? Mm-hmm. But of course, our biggest challenge always is that the reason why I've been warning people about all this speculation going on is because they don't really understand what they're buying. And a lot of them are being hyped. These are basically what we call the puro cuento, and then participated by the mass retail. And let me just show you what I posted about 3 weeks ago. I was showing this stock, no, which is a QuantumScape. It's in the US. It's in the US, and it went up a lot, no? Mainly because of this electrical vehicle. It's a supply chain of this electrical vehicle. No? So it's in the US, QuantumScape. This is a backdoor. It's like what's happening here. Most of the stocks are going up. It's a lot of stories that some companies are going to be buying all this backdoor, and then they're playing all these issues. No? Mm-hmm. This is owned by Volkswagen and owned by Bill Gates, right? It's a backdoor. It's a SPAC, S-P-A-C. It's like a backdoor here in the Philippines. It went up from 10 to 150. It went 10 times. Wow. Went 10 times. Wow. Right? In a few days, in that gap down is down 40%. Oof. Huge gap down, right? So these are things which we are already warning people that they have to be aware of what they're buying. And when you're speculating, you really need to have some rules and basically plan also your exit. Because if you don't plan your exit and you're watching the market, you're always 2-3 steps behind. That's why they need to understand what they're doing. Because if they don't understand what they're, especially in the Philippines, most of these are all penny stocks, informed speculation. You can really get burned. You can really get burned. So a US company na, huge volume. In fact, probably the volume that day is equivalent to the whole Philippine Stock Exchange. No? So you can see that, the dangerous part about speculation. Ito, may kwento na, maganda yung kwento, electrical vehicle, because for the next 25, 30, the supply chain will benefit from all this electrical that is coming out all over the world. No? Because I'm sure 5 years from now, we won't be buying these traditional cars anymore. We'll be buying electric cars na, di ba? So the supply chain, it's not only this stock, lahat ng mga electrical vehicle, lahat umakyat na, lumipad na yan. But let me share to you, in Hong Kong, there are so many stocks. Because in Hong Kong, walang limit down 30%. In the Philippines, meron. Okay? Hong Kong, yung mga pump and dump, that's what the same thing. They pump it and then they dump it. In one day, ubos lahat yan. Look at the second. So these are just late last year lang yan.
Wow.
These things can happen.
85%. 85% down.
One day. So mga pump and dump operation na nangyayari sa Hong Kong. You know, what's happening in the Philippines, sa Hong Kong is even worse. Di ba? Look at the next one. Di ba? So these are just recent lang yan. Ha? Just recent lang. This is a new IPO share. Di ba? Nag-pop na lang konti. Ginuhit na lahat yan. Di ba? Now, the reason why they can go down 80%, 90% is because there's no limit. Walang limit down yan. Walang the exchange here kasi 30% limit down. Freeze na yan. Then the next day, 30%. But indirectly, for example, the last few days, a lot of our issues went down 3 days na limit down. Di ba? So this is really so scary. And one of the reasons why we were so afraid of, you know, people just opening accounts just because they want to gamble. They don't understand what they're doing. Diba? That's why we were discussing this with Juanis the other day. I was discussing, Juanis, maglagay na tayo ng warning signal. We have to warn people when they're opening account that they have to be careful. Diba? Kasi if they're actively just trading, you're gambling. You don't even know what they're doing. That's the reason why I was so concerned about what's happening today. No? Aside, of course, from us have to take all the loads every day, right? All the loads, the challenges in our computer system. But this for me is one of the major issues. Is because what's happening today is happening all over the world. Nakikita natin what we're seeing, the mass retail. In fact, I was talking with April yesterday. These mass retail traders overnight thinks that they know how to participate na. They don't understand that they, by the end of the day, they can 85% loses money trading all these penny stocks, di ba? And Marvin, you've been also for the last 30 years.
Yeah.
Alam mo naman yan.
Yeah.
But I'm so happy when I was listening to all you guys. Most of the questions, these are questions that they're buying good companies, di ba? It's not the penny stock. None of it are talking about these penny stocks, which is good. That means the client that we are servicing basically understands the things that they're doing. Kailangan alam mo yung ginagawa mo kasi pag hindi mo alam ginagawa mo, delikado talaga. And these companies will just stay down 90% because there's no intrinsic value. These are just kwento. And it will just stay there for the next couple of years until backdoor na naman ng ibang kwento, di ba?
Yeah.
I mean, in the stock exchange in the Philippines, puro mga backdoor lang yan. A lot of these companies comes and go, and then 10, 20 years later, somebody just buys it and then inject some assets so that they can promote it again.
Oh, wow. So
kailangan maintindihan nila yan. I think really our customers really has to understand that it is really so scary. In fact, I was talking to one of the officials at PSE. Sabi ko, takot na takot ako dito sa market na ito because it's really just euphoric. Di ba? It's a mob. People are thinking that when they buy the stock, it can go up 10, 20 times. So it's really, I just want to share that, you know, guys, you have to understand what you're doing, because if you don't understand what you're doing, this can happen to us. And it happened the last few days. There were some issues, sabay-sabay, limit down. I mean, maybe we should have talked about it 1 week or 2 weeks ago, but you know, unfortunately, we only talk about it now after what happened. If you go to my channel, I've been warning 2 weeks ago. I've been warning you this already. We can see them naman, nakikita naman natin yan eh.
Yeah. Thank you very much for that, Chairman. Alam mo talaga, I'm very happy that we're trying to educate our customers. Now, medyo mahirap to no? I mean, these guys who are doing this, please be careful, di ba, Mr. Chairman? Please be careful. Mahirap to we're teaching you to invest for the long term, buy good companies. That's why we're talking to April on the fundamentals, and we're talking to Juanis to show them the timing or the charts. Stick to that, and they will be okay. But if you go to this speculative issues, I want to turn nga to Juanis. Juanis, the chairman is talking about other stocks. Do you have samples there that we can see? That like I want to understand kasi wala nang fundamentals di ba? Puro kwento.
Well,
pero what
I can
does the
add to
chart
what
show?
Edward gave earlier. Guys, do you think you can pull up that slide I gave you?
Yeah, kasi nga
I prepared something just in case somebody would ask me about them, but
I asked it na kasi we're already in the topic. You already said earlier you had the bar chart that says that 70% are already on this non-index third line, and
guys, can you put up that slides I have on speculation?
Yeah, Meron ka ba nun? Meron ka ba nun?
Yeah.
Yeah. Kasi nga, you know, I want to remind the people, no, we have our videos, Mr. Chairman, no, you have your community. April, she has her following. Juanis following. We have our community, and just look at our videos, how to buy these stocks. Stick to fundamentals. Go to the ones that have long history of profitability. Ganun naman yun eh. I mean, di ba? There's a lot of companies here that you can look at the charts and you can look at the financial statements. Kung walang financial statements,
Okay.
lalo na mas mahirap.
Yeah.
Ayan. Okay, Juanis. Go
Okay.
ahead.
Just to be able to guide some people who are trading issues like this. When you're trading on speculative or this momentum kind of movers, you're going to get two types of companies that you will show. One of them may have realistic stories. There's something really going on. And they're what we call copycats. They only move because other issues are moving. And whenever people are seeing slight movement, then they bombard it and it creates its own initiative to move. But like the chairman said earlier, many of these, it's just airy stories that may just come and go, and they could literally disappear. So you have to know which ones that you guys are going to be moving on to. So can I have the next slide, please?
Mhm.
Okay, so if you're buying this momentum-driven companies that have some stories backing them up, they will go through particular phases before you do that. Now, I actually did this thing back in 2018. I'm just refreshing it because this was the first time I saw DITO and them moving. And they will go first through a phase of speculation, which is that part there you see on the left side. Now, after the era of speculation, it means people heard about a new story. And because of there's a new story, it creates some interest. The stock starts to surge. This is that speculative surge you see. And after that, what will happen is, remember, you're only going by a story. The realistic factor of the business has not come in yet. So after the initial surge, you will see that the speculators will begin to leave and the stock will attempt to be able to come back down. This is what we call an orphan period. Orphan because, pinagbabayaan na. The guys who are market moving the stock, they take their profit, they run. And since the company just told a story and they're not actually experiencing the good business yet, the stock automatically will come down because valuations will not merit them being there. But over a period in time, when the company finally generates better business and there's finally earnings coming in, then the stock can start to climb again all over again. The picture you have there on the right side is a picture of Globe Telecom, which shows exactly that situation. It went through a speculation in the early part of the chart there. And then what happened later on is it went through an orphan period. It went through speculation because they announced that they changed their business from Globe Mackay to Globe Telecom. And that was the first time they were going into the cellular business. At that time, they were still losing money. And they began to lose money all the way till, I think, the chunk of maybe 5 or 7 years later. If you see that area where I put, they were still down 870 million so many years later after they announced they changed their business. And the stock went through an orphan period, didn't go up. But eventually, when this company started to register even 2 million peso in profit the year after, the stock price started to go up already. And then we saw a much more sustainable move. Can you go to the next slide, please?
No.
So let's talk about DITO. And so DITO here on the left side went through exactly the same thing. In 2018, going to 2019, we heard stories about them trying to come in as a third telco. The stock surged during that period. At that time, I did exactly this presentation. And look what happened right after. It topped out somewhere closer to 8, fell all the way back to almost 1 peso. And stayed there or like the chairman said, it could stay there for the next 1 or 2 years or more, until some new story comes in. And what was the new story in DITO? Now there's this technical trials taking place, testing the technology that they've actually put up. And remember, they're not profitable yet. And here we have another surge. So I don't know if you would consider this speculation or is the real business actually kicking in already? It could possibly be both. But there's still a chance it could be speculation because it might take several years before they go into profitability. So now you have a surge up there, and after this, what happens? It could possibly be another wind up. The chart you have there on the right side, I will not tell you what it is, but that's one of the issues that Edward was talking about earlier, that went up to the moon, and maybe the company's name is related to the moon if you were to understand what I mean. And I'm thinking this is speculation because they've announced that a new deal happened in the business, And it might take some time before they realize what the benefits of that deal will be. So normally after this, you'll probably get an orphan phase, and that could take some time. Next slide, please. Well, here are examples of some of the copycats. Now, these are very, very recent names of stocks that have been climbing up. And I'm just doing this over a period since the year 2000 all the way up to today. You will see in the history of these companies that are moving today, they've gone through this one after another, after another, after another. And it seems that people have not learned over time. And that you go through speculation and orphans, speculation and orphans, speculation and orphans. That's the difference between a stock with a story and a copycat or a pseudo story stock. In a company that has a real story, eventually aakyat yan. But with these ones that are copying or just trying to be able to fabricate stories or just try to take advantage of the news, then they will just simply go from speculation to orphan, and they never go to that real business side. And that is the problem. And I think that's the reason why the chairman feels so alarmed about it. At the end of the day, what do you have? You have a lot of little orphan Annies.
Oh my God.
So my suggestion in the last slide, please. If you guys are going to use a little technical analysis to help you, the whole idea here is when that stock starts to raise up already, it goes beyond what is normally normal, and it goes too far away overbought or so far away even from a short-term moving average like a 10-day moving average, that should alarm you already. Bentahan ninyo paakyat. Huwag nyo hihintay na bumaba ito because like Edward showed you, this could come back down very quickly and you're going to have a mass exit against that exit door. It's very difficult to sell during that time. So don't wait for that. And please, the volumes you should be putting in stock like this should be minimal. They shouldn't be a greater chunk of your portfolio because like he said, what you're doing here is you're taking very much gambling motions. So please protect yourself and don't engage a great degree of your capital here. It could be quite injurious in the overall.
Wow. I guess we were laughing earlier, but I think this is not a laughing matter. No, if you're putting hard money there, you might lose your shirt. You might lose your shirt, and I don't know. I'm just so happy that the top 10 favorites of our customers are
not there.
Essentially fundamentally sound issues. So I think that is enough warning to all of you who are playing this, and allow me to go on with the discussions. So maybe we can proceed with the discussions, and probably, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to ask you because I want to tie up the sentiment survey that we had earlier. I don't know if you saw it, that our customers or majority of the people who answered the survey's top concern is really the vaccine. I mean, the speed and the accessibility of the vaccine. That is their biggest, they think that's the biggest risk. To you, sir, what do you think is the biggest risk this market, at least for the next 6 months?
I think it's all about, expectation. It's all about expectation. I think what is really critical is that the real economy is really slowly opening. No? It's slowly opening. As the vaccine comes in, when more people are getting vaccinated, people will take a while before they normalize the way they live. No? Like companies also will take a while before we adjust. No? Because we've been adjusting to the new normal, wherein a lot of our people have worked from home. No? And even if they're vaccinated, unless the vaccination is compulsory, mandatory, which I don't think it's going to happen to us. It will be what do you call this?
Voluntary.
Voluntary. No? So it will take a while before the economy goes to the 2019 back to the new normal will be 30, 40, 50% capacity talaga. It will take a while. That the economy, unless the government comes in and really stimulate, do whatever they can to fiscal policy. I think the monetary, as far as the monetary policy is concerned, hanggang dyan lang sila. They cannot do more. Diba? Wala na ayuda yan. Wala na yan. Imposible yan. The private sector is doing their best. No? Some of the Taipans here are still continuing expanding. the Bulacan Airport is in play. So the private sector is doing their best already, but the government has to play a part because the fiscal stimulus has to come from the government. The spending has to come from the government. Because if the government doesn't spend, the economy will continue to just cost along. Because the earnings this year, I think April, you have to correct me, is basically because of the low base last year and then the slow reopening. So the earnings might turn around a little bit, about 20-30%.
Yeah.
You're talking about 30
plus percent this year.
30+%. So we're coming from, but I think it's already reflected in the huge rally that we've seen last year, no? The last quarter. No? The market has rallied. So it's pricing in already the earnings of the 30-40%. Right? So I think it will just consolidate because of the cheap interest rates. There's really nowhere to go. I'm in the camp of the telcos are, in other words, the telco earnings are going to be at least single digit, but they're paying you to wait until, let's say, the GCash or the PayMaya, basically, they can realize the value on it. No? Because right now, I think PayMaya and GCash is not even in their balance sheet. It's not part of the valuation. But the future is really all about that. Future all about that. So in other words, if you're buying Telephone and Globe, they're paying you the interest, the cash dividend, for you to wait for them to grow. That business. So if you are a long-term investor, I think that's the best thing that you should be focusing on. And of course, the REIT. I mean, you can see from the success of Ayala REIT, and they're also paying you. They're also paying you, di ba? 5-6% for you
Dividend.
to dividend.
Yes.
Because if you go to the bank now, wala kang makukuha sa bangko talaga. No?
Well, thank you for that. So it's really the expectation, Mr. Chairman. The government has to spend, the economy has to, even if we have a vaccine, baka hindi rin lumabas ang tao. Well, they might not spend it. Di ba?
I think we have to learn how to coexist with this virus. May coexist yan. No? So I really believe that if people just are aware, you boost your immune system, you social distance, wear your mask, wear your shield. I think some companies are already requiring their employees to be 80 to 100%. They have to go in now. So we're seeing that.
Okay.
But my average would be about 50-60% lang. 50% work from home, 50 to 60% lang. In the at least next 2 years, tingin ko. Even if you have the vaccine, people will be most. Let's say like us, for example, in an online, we can use a 40-50%. Meaning for them to come in from home. Walang problema.
Yeah.
Diba?
Yeah.
So may konting adjustment lang yan.
Yeah, okay. Sige. All right, thank you. Well, at this point, we're already 4:10. Maybe we can get some questions from the audience. Guys, can we have one of those questions? Okay. What global developments could massively change your market outlook? What themes are you looking at? Global developments you're looking at. Anyone? April?
I can answer that.
April? That's from Salve. Oh, Salve is here.
Okay.
Hello, Salve. Oh, okay. Go, April.
Yeah. Earlier on, we were talking about the survey and what do you think is, diba, the main driver. And well, people were looking at fundamentals, but then kukunti lang yung sumagot sa Fed policies, no, central bank policies. But for me, I think it is the central bank policies and interest rates. Kasi yun na nga eh. At this point, I don't think it's a secret that I was fundamentally I was bearish, and even now I am, but you can't deny the fact that liquidity is there, and that is what is driving market, because given the alternatives of where else can I go, the stocks are the best still right now. Kasi nga totoo, pangit yung economy, but inevitably, once people get vaccinated, lalabas at lalabas din mga yan. So the recovery will come. The question is, will it come sooner or later? And, as long as you are buying companies that will survive for sure, and they reward you for being patient, they give you cash dividends, di kung ako si investor, di dyan na lang ako magtitiis. Kaysa bumili ako ng bonds, naipit ako dyan for 10 years, and then 3% lang kitain ko. So yeah, that's why for me, it's what's important is, siguro looking at inflation. If it really shoots up substantially to the point that central banks will have to abandon their loose monetary policies, that for me is the
biggest risk.
factor.
Yeah. I like to add to that. I mean, Biden was recently inaugurated, and he appointed the new Fed chair. I'm sure that they're going to appoint new people there. Will there be change in their policies and that will affect? So you're saying that it's the policy that will probably the biggest risk with this Biden administration. Will there be any change?
I don't think
April
so.
or
Well, if you look at the policy of Democrats, it's basically fiscal spending and higher taxes. No? So since the Democrats are both houses are from their party, so I think it will be implemented. So they have, of course, the market will continue to stay liquid, mainly because of the Fed, the loose policy that they have. No? But once they come up with the tax policy where they start increasing the corporate taxes, I think market might sell off, and we welcome the sell-off if there's any. And then after that, I think the market will continue to go up because of course, inflation can creep up right now. Of course, everything is the inflation is like, for example, all the soybeans, corn, they're all going new highs. Copper, nickel, everything is going new highs. No, so we can see that the 10-year is creeping up slowly in the U.S. So once this inflation factor, increase of interest rate, the normalization of interest rates goes up, then we might see some sell-off in the U.S. But the sell-off will be an opportunity for us to pick it up because then once it's priced in, that the policy priced in already after the correction, I don't think it's going to be a major correction. I think parang slight correction lang. After that, packet na naman yan eh. Parang nag-reset lang muna, magre-reset lang sila muna because of the policy change. But forever, I think the Fed will have a loose policy talaga. They don't have a choice. They really have to make sure that the economy doesn't go to a depression. Kaya they will continue to liquefy the marketplace.
So the risk really, interest rates can go up, but it's not. It's an opportunity. Good.
Yes.
Good. Let's have another question. This is from Zoom. Technically and fundamentally, how to explain that our market is almost sustaining and even having short bullish runs, even if we are on the net foreign selling, at least 150 billion since 2018. So net foreign selling, but please explain technically, Juanis, maybe, why is our market almost sustaining and even having short bullish runs?
Well, yes, that's a good question. And I think one thing you have to also factor in is that we were coming from a very low base coming towards the end of last year, right? And so the April rush we had, and then eventually the October rush we had, we still had foreign outflows during that particular time. But you were talking about the index coming to extreme levels, and the locals decided to be able to take helm. There were buybacks taking place. Foreigners just wanted out because all they were seeing was that there was damage everywhere because of the pandemic. And normally in cases like that, it will be the locals who drive the advance, and that's why you had this what seemed to be a short-term bullish run. However, we're now at a point where we're in major resistance. You've had all those people who wanted to buy, and now there's been a D-shift. The locals are now trading speculative stocks, and you still have the foreigners selling. So who will hold the market up if the locals are currently diffused in their efforts and the foreigners are still liquidating? And so that's why we have that perspective that it could be a short-term reaction.
Maybe you want to look at also the institutional locals. Maybe the institutional locals are the ones really supporting
helped
the
it up.
market. Yeah, but not the speculative retail. Next question, please. We have one more there. Some more. Okay, another Zoom question. Yesterday, there was a bloodbath at the market in the evening news. It came that UK variant for coronavirus. There's another variant. What is your take on the trading environment next week? What's your trading environment next week?
I can take that. Well, as I pointed out earlier, I could already see evidence that our market seems to be submitting to the profit taking. So I haven't seen that change. We're now testing a critical support area at 7,000. If that breaks, then that could show more vulnerability into next week or maybe into next few weeks. So I think you have to be able to take up the cudgel here and be a bit more protected in your positions, because we could see more corrective volatility.
Guys, I've been hearing the three of you saying that medyo mukhang may correction muna to. Correction, it's gonna go down. But this is on the recovery, right? April, we're looking at recovery. Saan kami pupulot? When will our audience wait for the time, and then when are we gonna buy?
Well, for me naman, I guess when yung mga kaninang tinanong mo, the favorites also of the foreigners, like your SM Prime and AC, Alaland, when they return to more reasonable levels, and maybe that's a good time to start buying, because the others, the less favorite ones, are already cheap, no? That could be an interesting place where
reasonable levels. Reasonable levels are, you have your buy below. Is that the buy below levels that we have in the website?
Or maybe at least 15% upside to their fair values, no?
Okay.
Not right now, like single digits. Some of them are even trading at a premium to our fair value estimates. So my feeling is medyo mahal talaga sila. Yung mga favorites ngayon ng mga fund managers. Kasi you also need the fund managers to be more aggressive, kasi right now medyo namamahalan din sila.
Yeah, mahal. Mr. Chairman, yeah.
This virus that we're seeing today is priced in already. Naka-price in na yan. So parang if you talk about viruses, pandemic, it's pricing in already. Diba? So what is really important is that the vaccine is coming, right? And then if people basically continue to just boost their immune system, manage it, I think over time, we will slowly recover. It's just, it will take time lang. Kailangan them to be more patient. And I agree with April, is that when you want to buy something, I mean, the last 10 years, it's the rise of the passive funds. But today, I really don't think, well, because the foreigners continue to exit, no? But I really believe that you should buy values. May konting value kailangan mura. Kung hindi mura, it doesn't make sense really to participate. And if you want to participate, you just go to the telcos. They pay you 4 or 5%. Kasi mga high dividend. Just buy it, keep it. Anyway, they're way below fair value. They're 15% way below fair value. You just hold it. And then when the foreign funds comes back, andun na yan. Now, what's happening to the trading environment is really that the landscape has changed, because the dynamics has changed, because of the low interest rate. It's a risk on to most of the high net worth people. Meaning, let's say kung mayaman ako, di ba? Saan lalagay ko ba sa bangko? Hindi. Bibiling ko. That's why there was a shift. Foreign selling continues, pero it's the local institutions or the local high network or our high network participating. Most of our big businesses don't really participate in the stock market. Yung mga negosyante. But because of this low interest environment, wala silang choice. Lumabas sila talaga. They started accumulating. That's why you can see the dynamics has changed from the foreign, the institutions to the high network talaga, to the mass retail talaga.
How about Mr. Chairman? Kasi ang hirap mag-analyze ng mga stocks. I mean, for audience cannot follow everything. How about funds? How about index funds? Para makaparticipate din sila.
If you don't have time, you just buy an index fund. I mean, that's the reason why you're there, right? I mean, we created the COL index fund para yun lang mabibenta natin eh. Kasi pag wala kang oras, mag-iisip-isip ka pa, wala. But if you believe that these two will pass, another 5-10 years from today, you look at it from that, you cost averaging mo. You don't have to think. You know, the biggest, I've always shared this with April and with Juanis, with the team. You know, maybe 10 years ago, I went around the region and I was talking to some fund managers, right? And this was a small and medium fund, not small and medium fund. He said, you know, I was in Singapore. I think Deutsche Bank, Deutsche Fund Manager. Then he was telling me, he said, you know, Mr. Lee, when a sell side sells me a story, I look at it, I do my calculations, I do my discounted cash flow, I do all my valuations. And if I like it, I start accumulating it. Mm-hmm. Huh? The problem is when the price starts going down, I started to believe that maybe they know something that I don't. Mm-hmm. Right? Diba? Yan ang mga problema. For example, last year we experienced it. Ayala Corporation from 1,000 went to 400, 380. Diba? To the point wherein maniniwala ka ba? Baka, you know, something's happening to the Ayala Corporation. But that was the best time. The huge disparity because of the Manila Water, you know, the government running after them. But if you're buying an index fund, wala kang problema, naka-diversified ka. Diba? So that's why we believe that buying just an index fund, that's the easiest. Wala ka nang isipin because you have to believe in the Philippine growth story. Because if you believe in the Philippine growth story 5, 10, 20 years from now, you have to go to the index fund. Huwag ka na mag-isip ng individual companies. Just buy the index fund, give it to your children, they can give it to their grandchildren. Diba? Kasi kung corporation, you have to remember, more than 100 years, some companies listed in the US, isa na lang natitira, IBM na lang natitira. Yung GE na wala pa. Diba? So these are the things. But if you buy the Dow Jones index fund, new high na ngayon eh. Diba? Yeah. So buying an index fund has its merits talaga.
Yeah.
You have to look at it from a long-term perspective. No? Now, if you want to speculate, that's a different story, di ba? Or you want to buy the disparity, you have to learn what we call active investing. Kailangan maintindihan mo yan. Risk on, risk off, kailangan mag-aaral ka pa eh. Pero pag buying an index, wala. Continuous lang, cost averaging ka lang, high, low. Over time, panalo ka talaga.
Wow, you make it sound so simple. Okay.
It's simple.
Galing.
Di ba?
Okay.
Growth story, kailangan you have to believe that the demographics and then this pandemic will pass automatically. But you know, I was just in the Zoom meeting with Lasal, with the mafia, just this with all the students. I said the same thing. If you're investing, kailangan you have to believe in the country. Now, if something happened to this country, okay lang, pare-pareho lang tayo, sama-sama tayo dito, walang problema. Di ba? Right? But you have to set aside 10-20% of whatever you make or whatever is your allowance. You start investing already in an index fund. If you don't have time, and just continue to do it by the time, 5, 10, 20 years from today. Nakatabi ka ng pera, may lumalago pa yan. Di ba?
That's right. I cannot agree with you more. Okay, thank you for that, Mr. Chairman. Let's get another question from Carlos. Most of the stock picks are value or dividend play. April, do you have any growth play stock picks?
You know, it's quite unfortunate that we are not, yun na nga, isang frustration ni Mr. Lee, no, ni Chairman is, kulang ang mga IPO sa Pilipinas. Diba? Yeah, so I don't think we have a lot. Kung meron man sa pilitan, okay, you have your Converge, but it's not that cheap, di ba? And then you have, say, Nickel Asia, which is a indirect sa pilitan growth play on EVs, no, electronic vehicles. But In terms of yung talagang mga tech growth plays like electronic vehicles or all the technologies that are driving the market or new economy stocks, I don't think we have a lot of them. So yun, sorry, wala akong ma-recommend.
Okay, okay. Wala pa, wala pa. We'll wait for that. Next question. Let's get more questions. Juanis, is Converge now on accumulation stage or past consolidation stage?
I think Converge is still in an accumulation stage. So you still have time to be able to go ahead and pick up. I mean, I think it's a growth story. I know April says that it's expensive, but story and then accumulate
Okay, I
it.
like
I
that.
think you'll get that in good time.
Yeah, good. Next. Thank you for that question, Willie. Next, from an anonymous. What is your outlook for the energy sector, April?
Okay, so the energy sector, okay, the good news is the demand is almost back to pre-pandemic level. Okay, the bad news is for power generation companies, there is an oversupply. Okay, kasi I think last year maraming nagsabay-sabay lumabas na capacity. And because of that, you have these power companies having a difficult time entering into contracts with the customers. So the new contracts that they're entering into, ang baba ng presyo, di ba? Tapos yung iba naman sa kanila, there is this problem with the rising coal prices, and then they don't have that pass-through mechanism because lately, syempre, the power distributor like Meralco has the bargaining power. So they'll say, okay, we will sign up a contract with you, but no fuel pass-through. You take on the risk of fuel prices. We will not absorb that. So pag tumaas yung presyo, no change in selling price. We will only pay you so much. So yan ang nagiging issue. The problem is, well, I don't exactly remember what, but may binago yung government sa contracts ngayon, no? Such that it is now a lot more risky for power companies to build power plants. So the expectation is eventually maybe 2024, 2025, once the economy starts to recover, there will be a power shortage. But yun na nga, because of the pandemic, na-delay yun. So yun, let's wait until that happens. In the near term, it just could be a little bit difficult. As for renewable energy, syempre, medyo uso yan, di ba? Because foreign fund managers want to buy all these ESG, no?
Yeah.
High-scoring ESG companies. That's why your ASEN is medyo uso siya, di ba? And even your FGen, ganon, they get higher valuations, etc.
Yeah.
No? And in some ways, they're also protected because, yun na nga, yung mga renewables, let's say your solar, wala ka namang cost dyan eh, di ba? Or let's say from water, diba? The waterfalls, etc. Wala eh. It's more capex driven rather
medyo
than cost
long-term pa
driven.
to. Long-term pa to.
Long-term. Yeah.
Sige. Okay, let's get another question, please. Next question from the audience. Mind you, if you have other questions, we will answer it to you from through the email, etc. Okay, from a is it a good idea to start investing in REITs this year? So there will be some IPOs, no? And also, we only have one REIT now. Is it a good idea to start investing in REITs? April?
Last year pa dapat yung binentahan yung Ayala REIT. Pumili na kayo. Diba?
But ngayon.
Yeah.
It's the yield is what? What is the yield now of a REIT?
I think 5.6%.
Okay pa, di ba?
I think it's it looks like it's good. Well, given our expectations that rates will stay low for a bit.
Okay. How about the other
also,
REITs? Yung mga ibang IPO, yung mga IPO na REITs.
Most likely, what will be the companies that will list REITs will have offices in them. And yun na nga, ang maganda is so far, yung mga nakikita namin na i-REIT, they will not have debts. So the absence of debt will allow these companies the opportunity to buy more assets to inject so that may growth dun sa rental income. And of course, usually when you enter into a lease contract with your tenants, you have di ba may escalation clause yan. So,
Mhm.
so yung mga dividends per share, tumataas pa yan every
Oh,
year. So,
good, good.
maganda naman yung outlook. Oo.
Mhm, mhm. So when you're looking at REITs now, look at the assets. If may escalation clause, di ba? If it's a stable rental income that they're going to generate for REITs.
Yeah. Oo.
Good. Sige. Okay yan. Next. Uh, tell us quick answers. Kasi alam mo, we're already 4:35. We're a bit extending, but we have very good discussions. Okay, from CJ Go. Hello, I invest in COL's fund source, buying into the index fund when it was 5.8. Wow. Now that index pulling back, when should we add more? Is it 6.5 or 6.8 levels? Juanis? Okay to.
Well, since I'm anticipating a short-term correction, go ahead. I think in the next 2 to 4 months, you'll get your opportunity. If it can go back to 6.5, then go ahead.
Good. So you can really invest in index fund. Mr. Chairman said, mas madali, no? 30 stocks kagad yan.
Yeah.
You can just hold on and hold on for long term. Next, let's get some more questions from the audience. When do you think does blue chip stocks will recover into bullish divergence? That's a technical question. Juanis?
Um, like I said, I think it might take a factor of 2 to 3 months to carry out corrections in a consolidation. So I would look at them again, maybe somewhere there, unless there is a flash selling opportunity, but I doubt it. So I think, you might have to cascade up and down. So it's very difficult to see bullish divergences in a consolidation. So my take is, basta if it comes closer to the support, you buy a little bit. If it rallies, comes back to support, you buy a little bit and just continue to do that.
Yeah, I think the question is coming from a person who likes to buy blue chip stocks. So if he wants to buy, and you're saying about 2 to 3 months, okay na yon, he can accumulate. Juanis?
Yes, I think you can. Yeah. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
So I guess that's the
Yes,
idea
go
there.
ahead. I say yes to that.
Okay, next question. Why is BPI price going down and down? From Araceli Molina. Is it about the merger? No, is it the banking crisis? April, why is it going down?
Di naman. But compared to the other banks, it went up ahead, I think. That's why
Yeah.
mas ngayon, nauuna rin siya sa
Yeah.
pagbebenta.
Yeah.
Yun lang naman. But I don't see any reason why, or I don't agree that it's going down and down. No, it's not actually.
Good. So, okay pa to. Next question. Can MWC, Manila Water, still bounce back from its long hibernation? Hibernate. Can it bounce back?
Well, the question is, what will the new contract with the government be like? No.
It's a contract.
And well, ang bali-balita, hindi naman sa hinahype ko, pero I read in a research report that's available in Bloomberg that potentially they will reset the 30 years. So, di ba initially, the concern was tatanggalin totally yung 30 years. Paano na yung kinapex ni Manila Water? But now, di ba remember, Razon came in, and then the government apologized. Parang, sige, parang bati na. This is renegotiate, like whether we're gonna pass on the tax or not, whatever. So, I think may speculation nga na, sige, we'll just reset the 30 years, we'll start anew, but you don't pass on na the income tax. No? So, baka may ganon. So, that said, I think even for us, when we do our DC evaluation, and we didn't even factor in that additional years, no, the reset of the 30, I think may capital appreciation potential. So I think there's a good chance naman for the stock to rebound.
Juanis, do you remember how the chart looks like and Manila Water?
Yes, it actually fell all the way around to 8 pesos in March. It's now 16, so it's actually doubled its price from that low. And it's going up into a channel. So maybe I think they probably think the hibernation was because it fell down in 2019 with all the ruckus going on with, and it just, I think it's in a recovery mode. So I wouldn't consider it hibernation. The only problem is you give too many people the opportunity to buy at a very low price. So if I got to buy at 8 or 9 pesos and it's trading at 13, 14, 15, some people will take profit.
Profit.
It'll take more time to climb.
Okay, but the charts look good.
Still looks good, still in recovery mode.
Good. Manila Water, there you have. Next, please. How will telephone and Globe be affected by the rise of the competitors, DITO and Converge? I think we discussed that already, no? April, maybe a short answer lang.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As I said nga, as far as DITO is concerned, I'm not that worried in the sense na hindi naman kaya yung na maubusan ng market share. I think people will try and kahit si Dito rin, given the capacity, they probably will control the amount of subscribers that they will get. In other countries, the third player never gets the same market share as the incumbents. Never.
But there will be competition. There will be competition.
There will
maybe
be competition on the mobile phone side.
Uh-huh.
But then, yun na nga, to the point na magpantay-pantayan, I don't think so. It's hard. It's virtually impossible.
Okay.
As far as Converge is concerned, well, the market is big enough for everybody. And I'm sure you can attest to that.
Yeah.
Hindi ibig sabihin gusto mo mag-subscribe sa PLDT, bukas din darating
I got
diba?
Converge. I got Converge kasi pang backup kasi baka mawala yung isa ko.
Yeah, so I think the market is still big enough for all three. They can all grow fast at this stage because the demand is much stronger than supply. So
Yeah. Internet talaga is really very important.
It's a necessity, yeah.
Okay, so maybe last two questions na lang tayo. We're extending. What is your view on FLI considering it will go into REIT? April.
Yeah, it should be very good. Philinvest it's very cheap in terms of valuation. And it can unlock the value of its offices in ano nga ba yun? Cyberzone properties in, 'di ba, nasa Alabang, nasa Cebu. Those properties have PESA accreditation, so most likely mga BPOs yon nakapasok. And Philinvest is trading below book value also in terms of PE. I think 5 times PE, some ridiculous valuation like that. So remember, when you list a company in a REIT, because your yield is around mga 6%, no, 5 to 6%, and then you don't need to pay taxes, diba? Kasi that's a benefit. You probably can spin it off at 20 times PE versus what the stock is trading at 5 times PE. So that's a quadrupling of the valuation. And of course, as I said, you don't sell it at book value, you sell it at a premium to book, and this stock is trading at a discount to book. So should be very good for Philinvest. However, again, probably this Cyberzone will be a smaller portion of the total asset. But nevertheless, given how cheap the stock, it should be beneficial for them.
Okay, we'll look out for that when that comes out. Okay, let's have maybe another question, maybe the last question. What do you have here? I just want to know what COL management action and plan to your slow and lagging platform. Oh my God. Okay. Mabagal daw ang platform natin. Who wants to answer that? Juanis? Want to take that?
I'll take it. Okay, I guess first and foremost, I'd like to be able to, of course, extend our apologies for that. But, when we came into these circumstances on dealing with this, like we were talking about earlier, the rise of certain speculative stocks increased the activity in the market by so many fold that we did not earlier attempt to be able to see. And several of them moving at the same time just causes a lot of that lag to happen. And it really had forced us to be able to engage a much more active update plan in our technology and our efforts to be able to do that. Now, of course, nagkataon lang that we came through a COVID situation. A lot of the things that we ordered was stopped and took time to be able to get in. So we had to be able to play catch up, and we're still doing that right now. So what we do is we have a short-term and medium-term plan to be able to engage the difficulties that we've been having. I know some of you are going through some tough times, and I understand. I'm a trader myself. I know why. And we have a battle plan that will engage, like I said, short and medium term. The medium term plan goes all the way up to the next 6 months, but it doesn't mean that the effects of which will take 6 months long. Into that, we have threefold way of tackling it, where of course, aside from hardware, we're changing the architecture of our system. And we're also looking into new technologies that we're already testing right now to be able to try to get ourselves engaged in. Now, unfortunately, we can't just make those quick changes right away because people are trading. We have to test these things. We have to be able to push the capacities, and because a lot of people are trading at levels that we've never seen before. And I do hope that into the next, hopefully in the next 1 or 2 months, you'll feel some effect of that. But the fullness of what we're doing, including some of the other innovations that we're putting up, will probably stretch all the way up into the next 6-month period. And that includes, of course, changing the website, including the launching of a mobile app, and including a trading app.
Okay, so we're looking forward to that improvement in our system. Well, at this, yes, sir. You want to say anything?
Well, I think one of the most important thing that most of these active traders are assuming that that we will be able to provide a streamline of perfect for everybody to be able to execute it. What? Of course, it's not an excuse that we are lagging, and it's not only here in the Philippines. As volume and volatility increases, all platforms all over the world will lag. That's the reason why we, in fact, since last year, we were already anticipating this, and that's why it's very important that we put it in our website, the warning in itself, that these things can happen. Not only in the Philippines, it's all over the world. Everybody's the same. You have to be able to understand that. The second one is that when we become an active platform, we will be subjected to a lot of attacks. We will be subjected to a lot of attacks. It's not only the Philippines also. For example, last month, I think, the US Treasury was attacked. Its cyber attacks is all over. No? So sometimes it is because of these attacks that we basically will be affected. No? Our firewall will be affected. Mm-hmm. But of course, as we learn this, we automatically will upgrade all the things that we can possibly get. So, but always remember, as your customers increases, automatically it goes into a pipe to the exchange. There's only one pipe going in. So a lot of things can happen, a lot of sequencing issue. Mm-hmm. So my advice to active traders is that you need to plan your trades. You need to plan your trades, because if you do not plan your trades, you're always 2 to 3 to 5 steps behind, even on the buying and even on the selling. And that's the reason why it creates even more traffic. No, it's like you're being attacked. DDoS attack. One issue is moving and everybody is there. No? You have 50, 100,000 people hitting the same issue. So these are things that are, yes, eventually the new architecture will be able to resolve it. But in the meantime, please, if you are going to be actively participating in all these speculative issues, which we do not encourage, but if you are going to do it, you need to plan your entry. You need to already, even once it's executed, you need to plan your exit also, right? Because all of these things can happen, and if you're just watching the market and just trying to play catch up on the buying and on the selling, in the end, you're just being entertained. You will lose money. Guaranteed you will lose money. You need to plan your trade, and once it's executed, you manage your trade. Everything has to be pre-planned, right? You have to treat trading as a business, because if you do not treat trading as a business, you don't know how much you're willing to risk. You will always blame the system. You will not blame yourself. You will blame everybody else, including the system, including the manipulators, the pump and dump. You will blame everybody except yourself. Because what we're telling you guys, if there is nothing inside, like what Juanis was showing, stay away from this. Stay away from trading penny stocks. Just focus. If you want to pray, plan your trades and manage it. And please, do not blame everybody else. You blame yourself for gambling. All right? That's the only thing I can say. That's the only thing I can say. We do not encourage trading of penny stocks. Now, if you want to participate, we cannot stop you, but please plan your trades and manage it. Manage your risk, because if not, you'll be out of the game. You'll be out of the game. Believe me, we're just in the beginning. We're just in the beginning of the rise of the mass retail, because everybody today is seeing that the stock market is a place to be. And it's not only the Philippines, it's globally, it's the same thing. Please get educated. Get educated. It's all available. Juanis showed you, beautiful, speculation period, orphan period. You have to know what you're doing, because if you don't know what you're doing, you're just being entertained. No? You're just gambling every day. And we do not encourage that. And we will never encourage that. I mean, I was asked in a talk the other day, and they talk about Bitcoin, they're making so much money. And then I was just smiling. I said, the reason why Bitcoin can go to 40,000 is because of fiat money, because of risk on all asset class, right? All the stock market are being valued today. It's not PE, price to sales. Price to sales from 5 to 100, price to sales.
Wow.
For example, the one I showed you, QuantumScape, nothing, zero, no revenues, no business, no earnings, $45 billion market cap, because it's Bill Gates and Volkswagen. So people are speculating, purely gambling, purely speculating. It's not only the Philippines, even Hong Kong, Japan, everywhere, everybody is gambling. No? So please, learn how to do it the right way, and be part of the 10-15% that makes a lot of money. All right?
Thank you for that. We cannot overemphasize. We don't encourage it. But if you're going to do it, treat it as a business. Be careful. Be careful. Thank you for that, Mr. Chairman. Any other last words before we close? April, start with you.
Yeah, as I've said, the fundamental outlook isn't great, but this market, don't feel bad if this market can continue to go up. Maybe we will correct in the short term, but that should be a buying opportunity for you to come back into the market, or to actually enter, because a lot of our clients are still not yet fully invested or are lightly invested. So, this market can go up even if the economy is not doing well, thanks to low interest rates and ample liquidity.
Yeah, thank you. Juanis, any last few words before we close?
I agree with April. I mean, as much as, of course, we want the market to be climbing forever, but this reality that corrections do come. And yes, I did see earlier on that a lot of our customers said that they were still in cash and waiting for an opportunity. You're going to get it. And you don't have to wait too long. You'll probably be seeing it within the next month or two. So please be ready and go ahead, gradually buy it. And again, as the chairman said, just be a bit more discerning going to speculative stocks, because what was that famous saying of yours, Chairman? People who trade penny stocks become penniless. So just be careful about that. And again, as long as you have a good head over your shoulders and you understand the merit of what certain things can come in, the opportunity to buy your stocks will be coming soon enough. So be ready.
Thank you, Juanis. Sir Edward, any last? I'd like you to address the investors, Mr. Chairman. The investor, wag na muna. Sobra na tayo doon sa mga speculators. Ito ng mga investors. What can you advise these investors? Ito mga active investors natin. So last few words.
I think our investors, I mean, we've been in this business for 20 years na rin tayo, di ba? What I've seen is that a lot of our investors are very, very good already. Very good. During the capitulation that happened in March and April, we've seen a lot of our investors basically added more cash into the market. No? So we have never seen such a big inflow. Last year we had the highest inflow. That means our investors are already sophisticated enough. Are sophisticated enough that they know that whenever there's a crisis, this huge opportunity because we're seeing huge disparity in terms of prices, no? Because of the huge discount already. In fact, I was just talking to somebody yesterday. Ayala Core went from 1,000 to 400. Today it's doubled, right? We've seen Metrobank went down so much. All the major blue chips went down a lot, and already a lot of this has gone up 80, 90, 100%. So we have seen our customers base grown, and the inflows came last year was huge. And we're seeing now that most of them are doing very well. What really happened is that what we didn't expect is that when the pandemic came, and then because of this risk on that's happening, what happened is that this active in trading, all these what we call informed speculation started coming in, and it created more problems to us basically because we were not prepared. Well, we were preparing, but of course there's pandemic. Importing servers will take a long time. No? But what I'm saying for our investors, they have to be sophisticated enough to understand what is risk on and risk off. Going to the next 2 to 3 years, a lot of opportunities, mainly because if you see inflation going up, you might see interest rates going up for a little bit. After that, it will normalize. I believe that any pullback, any major correction or sell-off or even consolidation is an opportunity to be able to participate in this market. You need to stay invested. You really need to stay, because one is because of the liquidity. Two, the market is not yet, the economy has not yet recovered. No? So like I will always use what Templeton said. Bull markets are created during crisis, right? And market goes up on skepticism because we have not seen the economy going up. So it's going up, people are scared. So more a lot of skepticism going on. No? So we have not reached that level. Na people are excited, people want to buy stocks. Wala yan eh. Nasa-sideline lang ng mga penny stocks. Pero most of our customers, like what I'm seeing today, the sophistication is there already. They know what they're doing. They basically understand the fundamentals. They will also time it. They will sell, buy it back, sell, buy it back. I'm really impressed. No? That I hope it's because we're helping them, educating them, trying to put as much content. The only thing I request from them, they have to open their mind, and when they are looking at when we're sharing our experiences, they have to be able to see it. Because it's all there, like Juanis talk about it. So only when they're ready to receive it, especially for the new customers, they read, it's all there, everything is available, all the learning tools are there. The problem is, can they see it? Diba? Can they see it? Not basically based on the emotional cycle. When prices are going, they get excited, they buy high, sell low. Diba? Yung mga ganun eh, diba? Once the sophistication is there, then we will be having a healthy market. As the PSE loosen up on the listing, on the new listings that's going forward, it's really about time that our regulators basically go to because all our neighbors, Vietnam is 800 companies listed. Indonesia is more than 800 companies listed. Mm-hmm. Philippines is still 200 plus. After 30 plus years in the industry, we're still 200 plus. It never grew. Right? So when the policy changes, and which the PSE is now changing, and if it's supported by the SEC, what is really important? It's not protection, it is education. Once our investors, or even speculators understand how to do it, then the capital market will continue to grow, and it's going to grow exponentially. No, because policies are being changed already. You have a risk on cheap interest rates. New companies get listed. We will have more products, new listed, new IPOs. I think it is going to be, the runway is still very far. For our capital market, it's about time. After 30 plus years, I was a member of the Manila Stock Exchange in 1986. Still today, it's the same. Wala pa nangyari. No, it's more than 20, 30 years already. COL is already 31 years, 1999. No? So we're very fortunate that we're benefiting from this, but educating is very important. It's education, not protection. No? So for those people who speculated and lost money, learn from it. Learn from it, right? Learn from it so that you don't do the same thing again. No? Learn from our experience. I mean, we're showing it to you. It's just that they choose not to see it because they're looking at profit there rather than risk. In our business, it's all risk first, profit second. Sila, hindi. They're all just thinking about making a lot of money overnight without understanding. Yeah, that's all. Thank you.
Wow, thank you very much for those words, your wisdom, Mr. Chairman. Well, at this point, allow me to close this program because already we had a lot of discussion this afternoon. I hope you guys learned, and I think you can play this again. This will be you can rewatch this for those who missed it. But let me just leave with you, because I asked myself, is the Philippine market only a short-term trade or a long-term investment? Is it a long-term? The chairman said there's a lot of opportunities coming in. Our capital market is just about to grow, and the economy has not yet recovered. So there are a lot of opportunities for us, especially for those investors. Your active investors, now is your time. You can accumulate. You can choose from the list of April. Juanis is showing you the technicals. Combine the two. They're not talking different things. April is saying that there's some consolidation in the economy. It's not yet there. Business is not yet there. And Juanis is showing the technicals that is only a consolidation. So you have the opportunity to accumulate, but there is no rush, which is good for us. You can just continue with your work, earn, and then put aside an amount, but be careful in managing your risk. The way I will do it, the way I will suggest is allocate properly. Allocate your assets properly. You have your emergency fund. For those who used it up during the height of the pandemic, replenish your emergency fund. And then put some for your medium-term needs, maybe some bond fund there, but put aside for your long-term needs, because the fact is interest rates are going to remain low. I don't think we'll see the double-digit interest rates in time deposits anymore. Maybe not in our lifetime anymore. Because you cannot just invest in fixed income predominantly. It's not gonna cut it. We'll live longer. So you have to put aside an amount as when you grow old. But manage it carefully. Have diversified portfolio. Put some in bonds. Put some in index funds for those who don't have time. And then put some stocks. And follow us. We do this every 6 months. But we have our videos. We have our learning education for you. Please let us know what you want to do, and we can help you, guide you in your investment. So I guess I'd like to leave that the worst is already behind us. We've seen the worst already. And if you believe in the long-term growth story of the Philippines, the patient investors will be rewarded. And you will be you will get decent amount of returns. Just invest for the long term and invest for your future.